weekend escapade. We're standing in the Gobi Desert in St. George, Utah. This is Robert, and I'm going to share with you some information about an event that happened here that very few people know about. Let's go. So here it is, the first location for the movie set, The Conqueror. Behind me on the right, you're going to see where they filmed this epic movie, but it was also a giant failure. John Wayne considered it his biggest failure, and not only for the movie, but for some other reasons as well. And this is where the story gets very intriguing. So right down there in that flat spot, now I had this pinned on a map, and one of the things that happened here is they took 60 tons of earth from this location, and that was taken to RKO Studios in Hollywood. But what they didn't know is they were said that the dirt was hot with radiation. So testing was done in Nevada, about 130 so miles away. And this area in St. George was considered downwinders. This dirt was even tested with a Geiger counter to test for the nuclear waste. And John Wayne said that that went extremely hot, so hot on that tester that he thought it was broken and ignored it. This is where the story gets very crazy, because the downwinders in St. George also said that the increase of leukemia was off the charts. So right down here, we're going to go to the direct location where they filmed that and they removed the dirt. Also, there's a huge sand dune. And if you look at the movie The Conqueror, you can almost picture how it was shot here in all of the locations with the hills in the background. And this is just one of a few locations that we're going to visit. Let's go. So this is it. We're at the location where John Wayne actually filmed the movie. This is where The Conqueror was filmed, and also the location where they took the radiated dirt to Hollywood. There was over 60 tons of dirt that were removed to RKO Studios from this location. And if you look at the movie or see it online, stream it, if you will. And that movie is going to show these backdrops of the red mountains and all the sand in this location. So this location back in the 1950s, Snow Canyon, not so popular then, but now extremely popular. Out here you'll see what they said looked like the Gobi Desert, and that's why they picked this location. Red sand, and a lot of the dry ground covering. And that's what they wanted it to look like, because John Wayne was Genghis Khan in the movie, and that's what they were trying to portray. So the movie itself, out here, over 200 cast members and horses in this location with a lot of fighting scenes. And let me tell you, a lot of horses were falling down in that movie, and that all happened right out here in Snow Canyon. You can see where this would be a beautiful backdrop for a movie. But that's a lot of activity, over 200 cast members. And this location covered in the tents and the fires from that movie and activity with horses coming over the hills. And our next location is going to really show you how that happened with some epic scenes from that movie. So in this movie, The Conqueror, John Wayne is standing just like this at one part in the scene in Snow Canyon, standing on rocks just like this with his hands in the air, yelling to the air about being the conqueror. And I feel that this is the location that happened, given the backdrop in the movie. Kind of excited to know we're standing in the same spot where all those actors and actresses were to film that movie in the 50s. It's absolutely beautiful this time of day, isn't it? I'm standing in the Gobi Desert, believe it or not. Of course, on the motion picture filming platform, it is. This was considered the Gobi Desert for the movie The Conqueror, and John Wayne rode horses with many cast members right through this sand. And you'll find that in the scenes in the movie. Now, it was kind of funny, but Howard Hughes was so embarrassed by the movie after moving all that dirt that they thought was, of course, nuclear waste to RKO Studios. He considered it to be a big flop, and the acting in the movie is absolutely horrible. I'm a John Wayne fan, but let me tell you, that movie was bad. But this is where the sand came from for those movie sets and those horses right over these hills.
The residue from this morning's atomic detonation is drifting in the direction of St. George.
So director Dick Powell and Howard Hughes, who backed the film, knew of the potential risk of all of this sand and dirt here in Snow Canyon and in St. George, and all the dust that they kicked up because of the movie had the potential to have nuclear fallout from 120, 130 so miles away where they were testing those nuclear bombs. Now, the downwinders were affected here in St. George, and this whole area was affected because what happened is a wind came up and blew all of that activity into this area. Hot dirt or not, they say not anymore. We hope so. Now, as I had mentioned, we're hoping that the dirt still doesn't have any radiation or things in it. I mean, how do you know unless you really have it tested? But back then, they knew the potential risk because there's actually film clips that have been saved on YouTube from that incident. And they do call them downwinders. There, I think it's $2.2 billion have been awarded to people who said they were affected. The rates in leukemia in children during those time zones were huge in this area. Like I say, 42 cast members from the movie did perish from cancer, and they are trying to contribute that to filming the movie here. With that being said, the basic rate of cancer in general is the same that matches those of the movie set. So is it true or is it not? They say not, but we'll really never know, as most of those people no longer exist to be able to find out. But we sure hope that none of this has any toxic radiation or anything in the sand, because there are a lot of people that visit these areas that probably don't even know about the incident. Imagine this, right over those hills, John Wayne flying on a horse coming over there and fighting as the Conqueror, and all those cast members all were in this sand in the 1950s. Now, as I was mentioning, the film's cast and crew suffered devastating health consequences. Out of 220 people or individuals, 91 developed cancer and 46 died from the disease. I just looked up the stats on that as I was reading a couple of stories. But among them were John Wayne, Susan Hayward, director Dick Powell. Now, they all suffered and passed from cancer. But at the same time, we have to remember that those numbers follow about the same as what the cancer institutes and things say are the number of people. John Wayne, up to 5 packs a day of cigarettes, and very much a heavy smoker his whole life. And the actors back in the 50s all smoked quite a bit. So the stats could be from those incidents as well, and they're just blaming it on the fact that they found out about the downwinders in St. George and in this area and said, hey, it was from the movie. I don't think we'll ever really know. We are here. This is the third location for the movie, The Conqueror, and also off in the distance is the filming location for the movie They Came to Cordura. But the movie we're here to talk about, of course, is The Conqueror. And you'll see off in the distance kind of the grayish, lighter colored foothills, and then the red hills in the background, where the horses came over these mounds in attacks. So they filmed multiple fighting and attacking locations in that movie, and this is one of them. But we're going to get a little closer to the location for They Came to Cordura. There's actually a placard over here. Is some of the remnants from that movie, and we'll see some distinctive areas where these filmings took place. Again, a tremendous amount of dust was kicked up, and that is where the concerns came from. So this trailhead is the White Reef Trailhead. And White Reef Trailhead will lead you right to this movie location. You'll see these mounds off to the left. These are all mounds of adobe and chicken wire from the set for They Came to Cordura. And again, The Conqueror was filmed here as well. Tremendous amount of the horse scenes and fighting scenes. Let's get a little closer. So this is one of the locations. You'll see the fort off to the left here on the placard. And that is what this looked like. There's the mound of adobe over to the left here now of this location. All that is the remnant of that fort that was built for that movie. So that was the Mexican village right there. And those hills in the background you'll see not only in that movie, but in the Conqueror. And those hills had a tremendous amount of horses coming over them. All right, so this being the filming location for They Came to Cordura, again, was also the filming location for the Conqueror. You'll see the stairs kind of laying on the ground right here. And then all of this adobe is the walls for the Mexican fort for the movie. So this location hit by fire. And that's what burnt all the wood, knocking these walls down. But you can still see the stone structures and patios that were here for that movie set. This was a very intricate movie set. At least 100 yards away from us, there's other walls for that film set. So again, we're not here for that. We've filmed this location before, but just want to show you how popular St. George is because of its picturesque area for the desert and also filming Old West movies, of course. A lot of Westerns filmed here. And a lot of it from like Mexico look. So all deserty, but very conveniently located. Not that far away from California or Hollywood. So easy for them to get to. In 1951 to 1962, there were over 100 atomic bomb testings in the Nevada desert. Now what that means is the downwinders were here in St. George, one of the days of detonation, where children were literally waiting and watching for the detonation. They'd let them out of school to see it. The wind got that aftermath, the fallout, brought it to 120 to 137 miles-ish, depending on what you're looking at. As the crow flies, that wind also brought that contamination to the area. So this operation, Upshot Knothole, that event took place about a year before the Conqueror was filmed here. And so the radiation, or the things that were the fallout, I guess, from that event still existed in St. George. With, of course, the Energy Commission saying that it was perfectly safe, 100% safe, and nobody would be affected. But a lot of folks got sick. And because of this, it's very controversial. While the Conqueror had its difficulties while it was being filmed, at the same time, the gentle winds were bringing the nuclear fallout towards St. George. So not only did the downwinders get affected, but also the cast of the Conqueror. We'll never know the true results of what happened. Until the next one, goodbye from Weekend Escapades.